What is up, everybody? Hope you're doing great. Hey, I want to share a very exciting and powerful topic with you today, and that is how to get what you want in life. Right? I want to tell you, I want to unpack this with a little story. I remember looking at my life at one point, and it was as if I could visualize it, and it was like this, like little house, just metaphorically speaking, this little house built with like sticks and twigs and dirt. It wasn't a beautiful castle or beautiful, dream house like I would hope to have built. And again, this is just a metaphor for how I had created my life. It was like these little sticks and mud and like this little hut per se that I had built. Why? Well, it's because I was building a life based out of my fears and not my actual desires. So, what does that mean, right? What does that look like? So, for me, going through, childhood traumas, a lot of trauma as an adult, carrying just a lot of emotional wounding, right? When that starts to happen, again, I've talked about this before, but our minds start to take over. We become, heady, right? And the mind wants to create a reality for us. And the mind can only predict the future based out of the past, right? Let that sink in. The mind can only predict the future based out of the past. So I started to create my future based out of the past. And the biggest thing about my past was an avoidance of wounds, of trauma, of all this pain that I had suffered. So I created this life that was very like defensive, very protective, right? And there's aspects of that are okay. However, the best things in our life come when we're open, right? When we open up, when our walls are down, when our heart space is open, life comes in towards us. That's how all the good stuff happens in life. So what I learned through this process is as I started to unpack my trauma, and how did I do that, right? Well, I did it through breath work. I did it through working with plant medicine ceremonies. I did it from working with coaches and mentors. I did it through meditation. It became a journey of just unpacking these wounds and this trauma because I felt and realized what it felt like to be in a contracted state and then also to feel what it felt like to be on a healing path, right? I tasted a little bit of what healing felt like. And when I got a little taste of that, I wanted more of it and more of it. I'm like, oh man, if I can feel better, like I want more of that. And so I just sought out that journey, right? Began that whole process all the way up to doing what I do now, and that is sharing, elite coaching services and breathwork medicine with people. Breathwork, let me try that again. Breathwork medicine with people and helping them achieve, incredible states of happiness and enjoyment and fulfillment, and really helping people alleviate suffering, right? We're walking around and so many of us are suffering. We've forgotten what it feels like to play. We've forgotten what it feels like to laugh. We've forgotten what it feels like and the reality and the potential for us to actually create the life that we desire, to live a life that we want. But you can't create that life if you're just trying to avoid pain and avoid the fear of, the suffering that you potentially could face, right? And that's where I was. I was in a contracted state. What you need to learn and understand, what we all need to learn and understand, what I had to learn and understand was that at the root of who we already are abundance. We already are joy. We already are happiness. We already are happy or play. We already are all those things. We already are it, right? But what happens is through life, different stories, different situations, people put stuff on us. It's not ours. It's not actually ours to carry. They put the reflection of their reality on us, the reflection of them not achieving their goals on us, right? So on and so forth. And then we end up carrying these things throughout time. And we reach a point where we're just carrying all this baggage, all this shit that's not ours. And also we create and we come across wounding throughout life. But by healing those wounds, we deepen who we are. We create range within ourselves because we can understand empathy and we can understand creativity, abundance, joy, all those things. And so by going into ourselves, by releasing those wounds and unpacking those fears, we start to then stand on top of them. They become a strength for us. But it's a process. It's an unfolding process that takes place. For me, I'll use breath work like as an example, right? And going into these deep breath works that are designed to actually help us release tension, release emotional wounds. That's the type of breath work medicine that I like to share the most. I think daily practices and all this stuff are great. However, at the core and the root of it is energy that needs to be moved, stagnant energy. So many of us are carrying that around, like these stuck emotional states and stories that we just haven't unpacked. We haven't digested and unloaded yet. And so by doing that, by clearing those things out, we start to feel like ourself again. That's something my clients share with me a lot. Is like, man, I just haven't felt like myself, right? And then going through this work, through this process, they start to feel like themselves once again. What a beautiful thing, right? Because we all can relate and connect to that state where we once felt abundant, alive, playful, joyful. Like just watch kids, right? They're already there. They're already there. So we're trying to go back to that state. We're trying to remove those wounds. And then as we do that, it becomes a felt sensation in life. Because we move, again, what I talked about in the beginning, is when we're in our heads, we're in the mind, right? The mind is creating our reality. And it's not present. It's only predicting the future based out of the past. But when we come into our body more, when we can remove those wounds and we create like the bridge between the mind and our heart, the mind and our body, life becomes a felt sensation. And when we feel things, you can feel what's best for you. You can feel what you desire in life. You can feel what you want to create in life. It's totally different than thinking about it, right? We've all thought about like, oh, if I get this, if I do this, I'll be happy. If I get this thing, I'll be happy. Those are just thoughts, right? Figments of the imagination. We don't actually know that. But when we can feel life, right? When you're in a situation, you go, man, like this feels really good. I want to do more of this. There you go, right? Your whole body is telling you, yes, do more of this, right? And also, if you're in a situation where you're like, man, this does not feel good. And you show yourself, you stand up for yourself in those situations, right? So you show yourself that, okay, yeah, this doesn't feel good and I'm not going to do this. So you show up for yourself. And that's a very powerful aspect of this journey, right? A journey of healing is learning to honor what you actually what feels good to you and what doesn't feel good to you. And we can only do that if we're in our space of feeling, if we're connected between our hearts and our mind. We have that connection, that bridge going. So that's what it means to truly manifest, to truly create the life that you desire, is to remove the wounds, remove the baggage, the stories that are standing in the way, because you already are abundant. You already have it all. You already are in a state of manifestation and creativity. And so I encourage you to go down a healing journey if you're not on it already. And all that looks like is, it's a journey, right? So there's no one recipe for everybody, but move into things like working with breath medicine, sitting in meditation, right? Meditation gives us distance from ourselves. Like even a fool can tell somebody else, hey, look at that guy and all the flaws he has. But only the master can do that for themselves. Only the master can do that for themselves. And you can do that through meditation, stillness, silence. Just sit with yourself. Get a little distance. Get into your emotions. Get into your feelings. Allow yourself to be human. There's one thing that's very good at being efficient. It's called a robot. Don't be a robot. Be a human. All right? I love you all. I'll keep sharing with you more on how to unpack this, how to remove those wounds so you can continue to create the life that you want. I send you all so much love. Until next time. Peace.